Hello friends, welcome to the course Foundations of R Software. And you can recall that in the last lecture we started a small discussion on some basic elementary operations in the R software, and in this lecture we are going to continue on the same lines. So we are going to demonstrate here and we are going to understand here some more basic fundamental operations to understand the functioning of the R software. So let us begin our lecture and we try to learn some more aspects. Okay, so now the first basic fundamental command which I am going to tell you is about this greater than sign. Although I already have told you it many times and you know it, but in order to complete this lecture I need to inform you formally also, and I need to tell you some more stories also behind this thing. So this is the prompt sign that you know that when you are coming in the R console you can see this symbol. So this is the place after which you try to write your commands. Now after this, when we try to consider the problem that how to assign a value to a variable, then the assignment operator in the case of R software, there are two assignment operators. One is like this, left arrow and dash, this and this, and second operator is the usual equality sign like this one. So there are two assignment operators in the R software, one is less than and dash and another is equality sign. Actually when R started, then in the beginning there was only one assignment operator which was like this, less than and dash, and this was the same operator which was also available in the S plus software. So that is why possibly in the R the same operator continued, but recently couple of years back when this R software was updated, then along with this the equality sign was also incorporated as an assignment operators. Well, in case if you try to ask any hardcore programmer, then possibly they can explain you that what will be the difference between the use of these two symbols. But for users like us, practically it will not make any difference whether we are going to use less than and dash symbol or equality symbol. So now onwards, most of the time I will try my best to use equality operator, but in many resources and books you will also see this operator less than dash. So please don't get confused, both are the same thing, and I have explained you the reason also, so you need not to get confused. So for example, in case if I want to assign the value 20 to the x, I have to write x less than hyphen 20. So this is going to assign the value 20 to the x, and similarly on the other hand, in case if you write x equal to 20, this is also going to do the same thing, and this will also assign the value 20 to x. So you can see here in the R console I can show you that if you try to write down here x less than hyphen 20, this also gives you 20, and when you write x equal to 20, this also gives you 20. And once you have assigned a value to a variable, then it is also possible to assign a variable to another variable. For example, in case if I choose x equal to 20 and then I define a new variable x into 2, because the star sign is the multiplication sign. So this 2 into x is going to be assigned to a new variable y, and after that the value of x plus y, which is also a variable, this is going to be assigned to a new variable here z. So now with these three statements I am able to show you that numerical value can be assigned to a variable as well as a variable can also be assigned to another variable. So if you try to see here, if I try to write down here y is equal to x into 2 and then the y value become 40, and if I try to write here z is equal to x plus y, then x plus y is 20 plus 40, which is here 60. So I try to show you it on the R console also so that you feel more confidence. So if I try to say here, suppose if I write here x equal to 20. You can see here now the value here is assigned to be here like this, x equal to 20. And you already have done it many times, but now I am telling you formally. On the other hand, in case if you try to suppose write x less than hyphen say 40. So, you can see here what happens now, the value of x is 40. But in case if you try to write down here once again x less than hyphen 20, you can see here the value of x will change here to x equal to 20, right. So, now in case if I try to define here x equal to 20, then suppose I define here another variable here y as say here 2 into x. So, now you can see here the value of y becomes here 40. So, the value of x is coming from the first variable and then the value of y is obtained, and similarly if you try to obtain here z is equal to suppose x plus y, you can see here the value of z comes out to be 20 plus 40, which is 60. So, now you can see here that the values as well as variables can be assigned to any variable, right. Now, when you are trying to assign a value to a variable, then there are two types of values, one which are numerical and other are some characters. So, the numbers I already have discussed that the numbers are assigned to any variable in the usual way, as we said x less than hyphen 20 or x equal to 20. But when you are trying to assign assign a character or some word or characters to a variable, then they have to be assigned within the double quotes or within the single quotes. For example, suppose I want to define a word apple, A-P-P-L-E, and I want to assign it to a variable here x. So, I will write here double quotes, and then within double quotes I will write the value of the variable, for example it is here apple. So, this will assign the value apple to the variable x. And similarly, here also you can use this operator x less than hyphen, and suppose if I say that here you want to define here apple 1, you can write down here x less than dash within double quotes you write apple 1. So, this will assign the apple 1 to the variable x. And beside those things, if you want to assign the value here with only the single quote also, that is also possible. Instead of using the double quote, you can also use here the single quotes, and either you try to use the equality operator or less than and a dash operator, they are going to assign the word apple to the variable x, right. So, here you can see here I have defined here like this x equal to 20, and here you can see here within double quotes I am defining the variable, and with single quote also I am trying to assign the variable, and in both the cases there is no issue, both are acceptable. But when you try to look into the outcome will always have double quotes. That is what you have to keep in mind. So, by looking at the outcome, you cannot judge whether the value was assigned through a single quote or a double quote. Now, I try to show it on the R console so that you get more confident. So, suppose if I take here a variable here x is equal to apple, you can see here now this x becomes here apple, and instead of this thing, in case if I instead of this one, you can see here now I am using here single quote. So, you can compare. Now, I say here apple, so you can see here apple, and instead of this, if I try to define here y less than hyphen or dash, say here apple 1, you can see here this is here again apple 1, or I can also use here the equality symbol like this, and then you can see here this is again apple 1, right. So, this is the basic structure what we try to use in the R software. Now, we try to understand another aspect in the R programming. Whenever you are trying to write down a program, you are trying to handle some values. Now, as you have seen, these values can be numerical values or these values can be characters. So, now the question is that whenever you are trying to entertain any value within the program using some command, you would like to know whether this value is a numerical value or this is a character. So, how to get it done? These type of situations are very common when you are trying to write down a program. For example, when you write a program, you might be getting the data file from somewhere else and you have no idea, you have absolutely no idea whether the data is in the form of numerical characteristics or some data frame or some list, etc. So how to know? You cannot look inside the file to know whether all the values are numerical or some values are character or some values are numerical. You need a way by which you can find it out. So in order to know that if a value is a number, we have a command here is dot numeric, and within the parenthesis you have to write down the variable. And in case if you want to know if a value is a character, then the command is dot character, is.character, and for is dot numeric this is is.numeric, and in both the cases everything is in the lower case. The outcome of these two commands is dot numeric or is dot character is going to be in terms of true or false. Although I will take up this issue after some lectures, but let me tell you here that this true and false, when they are written in the capital letters, capital T, capital R, capital U, capital E, or false in all capital letter, or instead of true you can also write capital T, and in place of false you can write only here capital F. These are the reserved words. Reserved words means these words are reserved to indicate only the true and false, which are the logical variable. So we will talk about the logical variable after some time, but at this moment I can explain you that you cannot use these two words true and false all in capital letters for any other thing, and true means true and false means false. One thing what you have to keep in mind, that capital T, capital R, capital U, capital E, and capital T and all other things in small letter, small t, R, capital, small letter, U, E, etc., any other thing, they are different. So only the capital letters are the reserved words. So the answer to these two commands is going to be in terms of a logical variable as either true or false, and then you have to understand what it is trying to say. For example, if I try to take here x equal to 20, now you know that this is a number, so this is a numeric value. So now if you try to use here the command is dot numeric, and inside the parenthesis you write this value x, the answer is going to be here true. So that means yes, the x is a numeric. And now in case if you try to use this command is dot character, and within the parenthesis you write x. So x here is 20. So do you think that x equal to 20 is a numeric or a character? This is a numeric and it is not a character. So when you try to use this command is dot character inside parenthesis x, then it will give you the answer false. That means x is not a character. Well, one thing you have to keep in mind beside this number, so that you have to be careful when you are trying to interpret it. When you are trying to say is dot numeric is true, that means it is numeric, and when you are trying to say is dot character is false, so whatever is false, that is false, but then what is true, that we don't know. That can be character or that can be something else, that can be number, that can be something else. And if you try to execute these commands on the R console, you will get here the same thing what I shown you here. Now I try to take one more example. Now I try to take here a character and I write here apple within the double quotes. So now you can see here this is a character. Now I use the command here is dot character y. Answer is true. Yes, apple what you have given here in the variable y, this is a character. And when you try to use here the command is dot numeric within the parenthesis y, then this is indicating it is false. Obviously y is apple, which is a character. So when you are trying to check whether this is numeric, it is telling you no, it's not numeric, and your statement is false. But now if you ask me what is this, whether it is matrix, data frame, list, etc., that I don't know. So you have to interpret the result in this particular way. And if you try to do it on the R console also, You can see here you will get the same outcome. And then the question comes over here. In case if you have got a number which is either numeric or character, can you interchange its role? Why not? Suppose I am getting a value here, for example, x equal to 20. Is this a number? For that I use command here is dot numeric. It is true, yes, this is a number. But somehow I want to use this value as a character. What is the difference between a number and a character? That in case if you have two numbers 20 plus 30, both are numbers, so their sum is going to be 50. But if something is character, apple plus say banana or apple plus 50, you cannot find the sum. But somehow in some value, in some experiment, 20 is going to indicate some category. So I want to use this value as a character, but the default value inside the R software or any mathematical software, that is always taken as mathematical. So the question is, how can you convert a numeric value into a character? So for that, in case if you want to convert a value as a number, the command here is as dot numeric, and within parenthesis you give the variable name. And in case if you want to convert a value to a character, the command here is as dot character, and within parenthesis you have to give the variable name. And both this command as dot numeric and as dot character, they are going to be written in the lowercase alphabets. So now in case if you try to take the same example, suppose I am trying to take here x equal to 20, which is a numeric, but now I operate the command here as dot character within parenthesis x, and whatever is the outcome I try to store it here as a y. Then now after if you check whether this y is numeric, so for that you use the command here is dot numeric y, and you will get here false. Although x was numeric, but now y is no more numeric. Now you would like to check what is this y? Is this character? Then the answer comes here, yes. Why? Because you have operated the command as dot character to change a number into a character, and so y has now become character, and whose value here is like this. You can now see here your x was 20, but y is now given as 20 within the double quotes, you can see here. So that means this is now the character. You can see here this is the screenshot of the same operation, right. Now in case if you try to do the opposite, suppose I have got here a character and I want to convert it into a number, what happens? So suppose I take here the variable here apple, which is a character, and I store it here as a y. Now I try to operate the command here is dot numeric y, that means I want to know whether this y is numeric or not. The answer comes out to be here false. Means obviously y is apple, it is character, so it cannot be numeric, so that is why the answer is coming out to be false. But now I would like to check is dot character y, that means whether y is a character. Answer comes out to be here true, yes, y is a character. Now I try to convert this y into number. So I try to use the command here as dot numeric and within parenthesis here y, and then I try to store this value inside this new variable z. So now it is trying to give us a warning message. Whenever you are trying to work in the R software, you will sometimes get some messages. These messages are of primarily two types. One is here warning, and second category is error. So what is the difference between warning messages and error messages? Warning is just like a warning. Warning means when you really warn someone, you are not exactly going to do the same thing, right? And when you are getting a error message, that means this is a mistake, this is an error, and the program cannot execute after this. So when you are getting the warning message, that means the program will continue, but it is warning you that something is happening, please try to look, please be careful, please be watchful. But when there is error message, then the program will simply stop there, it will not move forward. because there is a mistake, there is an error. Unless and until you correct it, the program will not run. So it is now giving you here NA is introduced by coercion. Coercion means forcefully, and NA is a sort of something like missing value not available, which we are going to discuss once again, I will say, in the further lectures in more detail. So now if you try to see here, that is dot numeric z, it is telling you yes, now z is numeric. But in case if you try to find out the value of the z, now tell me one thing, you are trying to convert apple into a number. What do you expect? Is it possible? No. That is why when thing was possible, but when you are trying to do it forcefully, then z is trying to replace this word by another number which is NA. And in case if you try to see here, is it a character? Answer is false, because NA is not actually a character. It looks like a character NA at this moment, but after I give you the details of two aspects of two reserved works, NA and null, then you will understand that just like true and false, these are also the reserved words. So this is how we are going to work in the R software when we are trying to convert the numeric into character or vice versa. And you can see here, this is the same screenshot which I have explained you here, but then I would like to show you it on the R console also. So let us try to understand these things. So let me try to copy this command so that I can save some time on the R console. So let me try to remove these things by pressing Ctrl L. Now you know, so if I try to take here x equal to 100, and if I try to do here is dot numeric x, answer is true. And if I try to say here is x a character, it is false. But in case if I try to take here y as say here apple, and now in case if I try to see here what is y, is it a numeric? Answer is false. But when I try to say here is it a character, then it is coming as yes, this is character. So now, because you already have seen that x equal to 100 is your number and y equal to apple is your character. So I would like to convert them number into character and character into number. So now you can see here the command here is, in case if you try to convert a number into a character, then the command here is as dot character. So I try to use here as dot character x. So you can see here this is now within double quote it is 100. So within double quotes, as you are trying to say, this becomes a character. So by looking at this 100 and this 100, you can very easily identify that which of them is a numeric and which of them is a character. And similarly, in case if you want to change this character into a number, then what you have to do, your y is here is apple and you want to convert into a numeric. So you can see here this is giving you the value here is coming out to be here NA, but it is giving you a warning message that NAs are introduced by coercion. When forcefully means you are forcing R to do something which is not acceptable, but it is trying to do something to follow your orders and it is trying to replace the apple by the value NA, right. So this is how the things work when we are trying to work with these characters and numbers in the R software. Now after this, one more aspect. Whenever you are trying to do any programming, then as a good programmer, you always like to give some information which can be used either by yourself or by somebody else. For example, suppose I am sitting at IIT Kanpur and I am writing a program in which I have assumed three variables: x is height, y is weight and z is age. Now when I am trying to send this program to somebody else outside IIT Kanpur, how do I communicate? And if I try to communicate in a different file, that will be very confusing. So what I will do, that within the program I would like to mention that x is this, y is this and z is this. So how to get it done? So in R software, in case if you write this hash symbol in the first place on a line, then after that whatever you are going to write, that will become only a comment, and no mathematical operations will be done over that. For example, in case if I am trying to write down here hash mu is the mean. So, you can see here, in case if you try to enter here, nothing will happen, no warning, error, etc. That is accepted. As soon as you write here hash, all the characters after this up to the end of the line, they are simply ignored, and R will skip this line. R will come to know that I do not have to operate on this line. And similarly, in case if you try to write down here hash x equal to 20 or x hash less than dash 20, then it is going to be considered only as a comment. For example, if you try to write like here this, then it is going to take it as here as a numerical value. A numerical value of 20 is assigned to x, but when you are trying to write down here this hash, then it is not going to be like this, right. And one very important thing, R is case sensitive. The small letters and capital letters, they are different. For example, in case if you try to write down here x equal to 20 in capital letters and small letters, they are going to be different. For example, I can show you here on this screen output, and then I will try to show you in the R console also. When you are trying to write down here x, this is say lowercase alphabet, lowercase x. You are trying to write down here lowercase x is equal to 20, and you press here x, it will come out to be here 20. But when you try to write down here capital X and enter, it will say error object x not found, because you have defined it to be small x, but you are trying to be here trying to find out the value of your capital X. But in case if you try to assign here the value capital X equal to 30, and then if you try to see the value of capital X, this will come out to be 30, and the value of small x will come out to be 20. So, I will try to show you this thing. So, you have to be very careful when you are trying to work in the R console, that lowercase alphabets and uppercase alphabet, they are going to be different. And that was the reason that many times whenever I am trying to explain you about the functions name and commands, whenever there is a small letter or capital letter or lowercase or uppercase, I am informing you very clearly that this is what you have to do. So, before we move forward, let me try to show you these two commands on the R console, and then we will move forward with some more commands. So, now you can see here, suppose if I write here mu is the mean, you can see here it will not understand. It will say some error, some unexpected symbol in mu is something like this. But in case if I introduce here the symbol hash, then if I try to do it, it will say that it will just accept it, that there is no issue. Now, in case if I try to say here 20 plus 40, this will come out to be a 60. But in case if I try to put here a hash symbol before this 20 plus 40, let us see what happens. Nothing is happening, there is no value. So, that is the difference, that when you are trying to put a hash at the first place, then R is not really going to execute whatever is written after this, right. Now, suppose if I say here capital K is equal to 5, and I try to write here the value of here K like this, and I try to write down here hash K, there is no value, there is no outcome. Even if I try to write down a small k here, there is no outcome, right. So, that is the thing what I want to show you here. Now, after this I try to show you what is the difference between lowercase and uppercase alphabets. So, let me try to take it here. Suppose if I try to take here capital L, this is equal to 30, right. And then I try to press here what is small l. Well, I am not taking a small x and capital X, because you can see that it may be difficult for you to identify very clearly the difference between small and capital X. So, that is why I have taken here L, right. But in case if I say here L is equal to 30 or say 20, you can see here now there is here L, and if you want to press it here capital L, it will give you this thing, right. And similarly, in case if you try to take here another variable here m is equal to say 30, and if you try to find out the value of here 2 into small m, it is saying no, it's not found, because you have defined the value here as a capital M and you are giving here as a small m. So, but if you try to change it to capital M, it will give you 60. That is what you have to keep in mind when you are trying to do the programming. These are very common mistakes, and but sometimes they take very long time to find it out. Similarly, there is another common mistake when people try to write 0 or O. Once you write 0 and you want to write O, or if you want to write O, you write 0, it is very difficult to find, and particularly when you are trying to write down a mathematical expression where you have written O in place of 0, then it takes a considerable amount of time to find out the mistake. Okay, now I come to another aspect. This is about combining the values in a data vector. Now you see, I am using here a new terminology, data vector. Don't get confused with the word vector. We have vectors in physics, vectors in vector calculus, etc., etc. But this is here a data vector. Data vector means it is trying to combine more than one values. For example, in case if you want to combine 5 values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you want to give it as an input in the R software, then the command here is that you write here small c, and then within the parenthesis you try to write down all the values. So, this will combine all the values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in case if you try to follow something else, I can show you with this screenshot here what will happen. Suppose if I want to combine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a data vector y, and if I simply give here y equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can see here the outcome here is error. Similarly, if I try to give it here y is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 within the parenthesis, even then there is some error. And in case if you write y is equal to a small c, means lowercase c, and within parenthesis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you try to see this y here is like this. So, remember one thing very important for the R programming, whenever you want to give more than one values in the R software, try to use this command lowercase c and try to define the data vector using this command c. This is very important. But before that, I try to show it to you on the R console also, so that you are clear about it. You can see here, if I try to define here y is equal to suppose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can see here it is not giving me any value. And even if I try to make it here parenthesis, it is giving me error. But when I try to write down here small letter c, lowercase c, then it is assigning the values, right? So, this is the way, and whenever you are trying to do the mathematical operation and other types of operation, unless and until you give the values in this format using the C command, there will be trouble. Things may not really work. So, you have to be very careful when you are trying to do it. Okay. Now, I would like to give you one more command. This is about mode, M-O-D-E, mode. This command mode explains the type or storage mode of an object. For example, in case if you try to say here x equal to 6, so this is a number. So, the mode of x is numeric. So, in order to find out the mode of a variable, you have to use the command mode, M-O-D-E, and within the parenthesis you have to write the name of the variable. Now, here I would like to give a caution to all of you, that when I am trying to use the word mode, sometimes people get confused that okay, it is a mode like mean, median mode that we study in statistics. Because in order to find out the mean, the command is mean, in order to find out the median, the command is median, but in order to find out the mode, the command is not the mode, it is something else. So, be watchful. In your childhood, you have learned the chapters like modes of transportations. You say that okay, there are different ways for the transportation, you go by ship, go by air, go by train, etc. So, this mode is like that mode, it is not the statistical mode where you try to find out the value corresponding to the maximum frequency. Be careful. Similarly, in case if you try to take a character, like as here I try to take a variable y in which I assign the character as apple, then the mode of this y, mode of this apple will be character. So this is another operation mode which helps you when you are trying to do a programming and when you are trying to get the data from some external sources, because you will be getting a file which will have say thousands and millions of values, and it is not possible to go through with each and every number in the file to know the mode of the value, and based on that you have to do the mathematical operations. And this is here the screenshot of this thing. I will try to show you it on the R console also. You can see here, if I try to see here x equal to here 5, then the mode of here x here is numeric. But in case if I try to take here y here as say apple, then mode of y here is character. But in R we have some more modes that we will try to use and learn whenever we need them. They are logical, integer, double, complex, raw, character, list, expression, name, symbol and functions. So we are not going to do it here, but then whenever you need such numbers you can always find it out. Now there is another command for this mode, that is the storage mode. This command returns the storage modes of its argument. That means whatever is written inside this parenthesis, whatever is the mode of storage of this value, that is informed through this command. Actually this command is usually used when we are trying to call the functions which are written in other language like a C or Fortran, and this actually ensures that the R objects have the data type as expected by the routine being called by those programming languages, right. So we are not really going to use it here much in this course, but it is very important for you to know. For example, if the mode is logical, then it is storage mode is also logical. When the mode is numeric, then the storage mode is integer or double. When the mode is complex, then the storage mode is also complex. When the mode is character, then the storage mode is also character. When the mode is raw, then the storage mode is also raw. So this is for your information that you must know actually. For example, if you want to know the storage mode, for example, if I try to say here x equal to 6, which is a numeric, then if you try to use the command here is storage dot mode, and within parentheses you write this x, then it will give you the answer double. Similarly, if you try to take a logical variable, which I just explained you as small x equal to true, which is a logical variable, so the storage mode of this x is logical. And in case if you try to take here a character like as a x equal to here apple, then the storage mode is here character, and the same thing you can see this on the screenshot of this software also. So before I go further, let me try to show you these things on the R console also, so that you are more convinced. Right. So if I try to take here x equal to here 78, for this is a number, so the storage mode of x is double. But in case if I try to take here y is equal to here apple, right, then the storage mode of this y here is character, and so on. So this is needed when you are trying to write down the programs. Many times for the mathematical operations you need to do it, and based on that you try to make your operations. Okay, now whenever you are trying to do some calculations, for that you write a programming, sometimes you get the answer as infinity, and many times this creates a problem, and while you are working with a longer program, then sometime in between at some place you are getting the some value infinity and it is not giving you the output. At that moment we always would like to know that somehow if I can find out the outcome of this command is coming out to be finite or infinite, because it may happen that you are trying to divide some number by some number, but somehow during the computation that number has become so small that it is almost 0. So when the number divided by 0, that will give you infinity. So how to know all these things? So in our software, in case if you want to know whether a number is finite or infinite, we have a command here is dot finite or is dot infinite. For example, you know that when you are trying to divide 3 by 0, the answer is infinity. That you can see here in the R, if you try to divide 3 divided by 0, the answer will come out to be INF, so which indicates that infinity. right? And you know that if you try to add 5 in infinity, the answer will again be infinity, or if you try to subtract, divide, multiply anything, it will remain any infinity. So if you want to know that there is a variable x is equal to 5 plus infinity, 5 plus INF, then I just want to know what will the outcome. So I am asking, is dot finite this x? Obviously we have given here infinity, though x is not finite, so it will give you the answer here as say false. And then if I ask, is dot infinite x, it will give you the answer true. Yes, it is infinite, right? So, and you can see here, this is the screenshot, and if I try to show you these things on the R console, and if I try to define here the variable here as say x is equal to suppose 6 plus infinity, right? So you can see here x is infinity, and if you want to find out is x infinite, true, and if you want to know is x finite, answer is false. So this is how you can use such commands while doing the programming, and that will help you. Right, okay, so now we come to an end to this lecture, and now you can see here in this lecture we have understood a variety of things, and these are small commands which are trying to give you some information about the intermediate steps also. So my request will be that you please try to go through these commands, try to execute them, and try to understand what are they trying to do. That is more important. And I am not saying that these are the only commands which are possible in the R software. There are many more commands, but I expect that if you know these many commands, after that if you want to know more commands, and if you consult any book or any source, good source, it should not be a difficult thing for you to learn. At least you will understand what is really happening. Once you know what is this is dot character or s dot character, after that if you come to know that there is a command like is dot matrix or s dot matrix, you will automatically know that okay, it is trying to understand the character or the characteristics of this variable, whether this is a matrix or not. So that was my objective, to choose and to give you some representative commands so that your further learning in the R software become easier. So you try to practice it, and I will see you in the next lecture. Till then, goodbye.